to saturate the digital nations with the Bible, creators are needing more alliances and more tools. So last summer, the British and Foreign Bible Society came to me with this concept of the digital nations. Like many of you, the Bible Society they exist to increase Bible engagement globally. And they wanted specifically to think about Bible engagement online. But they were still trying to figure out what is the right strategy for that. And so to answer that question, first they wanted to sort of understand what is already happening in the digital space with Bible engagement. And so that's when Toby Beresford, the director of digital strategy, came to me with this concept of the digital nations. So why did he come to me? Well, as Mike said, my name is Adam Graber, and I help Christian leaders align their emerging technology to their strategy. I have a master's degree in digital theology, and I consult with global Christian ministries. In the last 5 years, I've worked with people like the Bible Society, Our Daily Bread, GACX, Leadership Network, and many others. I also do co-host a podcast called Device and Virtue and a Substack called Christianity Tomorrow, with my tongue firmly in my cheek. So as Toby came to me with this concept of the digital nations, we expanded it to include this concept of digital continents. So different formats like gaming, photos, video, AI, and all the rest. And we surveyed 27 digital nations and grouped them into these 9 continents. We focused specifically on English-speaking creators, and we looked at platforms or nations that have more than 70 million monthly active users. So what were we looking for? Well, we wanted to know what is and is not happening in terms of digital Bible engagement online, and how might ministries like yours, like the Bible Society, how might they best support digital Bible engagement? So the Bible Society really wanted to understand what is happening that we can already support and what isn't happening that we might help launch, and what resources would be needed to do that. And so using these questions as a guide, we set out to survey these digital nations. And we set out to find as many digital Bible creators as we could. We wanted to know, who are they? What platforms are they on? What tools and resources do they need? And much more. And I'm going to share a few findings with you today. And I will say, I wish I had gone through the StoryFind course. Maybe I would have had all 3 points of the triangle. I'm afraid that may not be the case, but this can be an example to you. But you can decide whether it's effective or not. So first, the big story is this, that there is a vast opportunity here, but the digital Bible investment remains relatively small. There is a huge need, as you well know, for Bible impact online, but many nations are still what we would call Bible deserts. Physical missionaries actually outmatch digital Bible creators by a margin of 25-1. So according to Lausanne and the Joshua Project, there are 450,000 physical missionaries globally, which translates to about 5,600 missionaries per 100 million people. And the good news is this, the theme of this conference is saturate. And that means that we get to join with what God is already doing. And he promises in Isaiah, I give water in the wilderness, rivers in the desert, to give drink to my chosen people. So next we found that there are hundreds of creators scattered across this current digital Bible landscape. So we're going to look at some of the characteristics of this landscape, some of the characteristics of these creators. So of all the qualified creators, we found about 1,700 of them. We have about a 60-40 split between individual missionaries who don't really have an organization supporting them and organizations who are doing digital Bible engagement. And another, only about 2% are creating resources to really equip these creators. So here's how the Bible creators are sort of spread out across these 9 digital continents. So the organizations are there in red, and the missionaries are there in blue. And this is actually ranked in descending order by the missionaries, just so you can get a sense of the contrast. And so you can see that the organizations are gravitating towards AI, which is primarily what includes Google Ads. We decided as we were talking about this that Google is sort of this proto-AI. We think AI is this new thing, but the algorithms that they have been using to create page ranking, that's AI. And so we decided that we needed to think about Google in that format as well. And so you can see that organizations really dominate in that space. They also dominate in the emerging tech space. So that includes primarily the apps on the app stores, which have less than 70 million monthly active users. So they're emerging spaces, so to speak. So why do organizations gravitate towards these? Well, I think the short answer is that these nations require more resources and more collaboration to enable that Bible engagement. Individuals really don't have the money or the structures to really enable them to invest in building apps or buying Google Ads. However, individuals, as you can see, they dominate the audio space, the video space, the photo space, and the text space. So they are the majority in a lot of these spaces compared to organizations. So here is the same comparison, but this time it's broken down by nation or platform, and it's ranked here by the organizations in descending order. And I think seeing this contrast really helps us to consider what are the strengths and weaknesses of each of these groups. Where might there be synergies for these groups to work together? So, for example, organizations are more likely to focus on Google SEO, going to their website, where missionaries don't really have the funding to do that, nor do they really have websites that they're necessarily interested in driving people to. They're interested in keeping people on their social platforms, connected to them individually. And missionaries, however, are sort of very clearly interested in podcasts, that 196 number there in the middle. They're also very interested in ChatGPT, things like that, Twitter, Alexa, and the rest. And among social platforms specifically, organizations are most likely to be interested in Instagram. Again, I think this may be because they can purchase effective advertising, or perhaps it's ineffective, as Chris said earlier. However, missionaries, on the other hand, are choosing podcasts. That's their number one choice for what they're using to do Bible engagement. For organizations, that's their 5th top choice. So, how many digital Bible creators are serving each of these digital nations? So here you can see in blue the total number of digital Bible creators, both missionaries and organizations, in comparison with the size of that nation, size being the total monthly active users. And this is ranked by largest available markets. So this shows which digital nations have the fewest digital creators, fewest Bible creators. And you can see there in red that the 3 of the top 4 are Alphabet properties. They're Google, Google Play, Google Search, YouTube, and then you see some of the other major ones, Facebook, Amazon, and the rest. Meanwhile, the quote-unquote most reached nations are podcasts, ChatGPT, interestingly, and Alexa, also interestingly, they're down on the far right. So, what is our saturation rate? That's our theme here today. Of all the monthly active users, how many are following a digital Bible creator? And our answer at this point, with the data that we have, is our saturation rate is around 2.5%. That's the number there in red. So, for example, the Play Store on the far left has about 4 billion monthly active users, and about 9% of them have downloaded a digital Bible app. And that's really one of 3 apps, YouVersion being one of them, the digital King James Bible being another. I'm not remembering the third. But you can see that about 9% of Google's 4 billion monthly active users are being reached with digital Bible content. Now, this number, I hate to say, probably skews a little bit high. We don't have the actual monthly active users for the Play Store. We only have download counts. So that means, when you're looking at the Google Play Store, the information you have is how many people have downloaded YouVersion. Now, if YouVersion and some of the others were willing to share that information, this number would be more accurate. And maybe some of you would have influence on that. Okay, so we've seen that there are hundreds of creators scattered across these digital nations. The number of creators is still dwarfed by the number of missionaries. But not only do we need more digital Bible creators, they are also lacking resources. So here we'll look at some of the resources they do currently have. As I said, about 2% of those we found are creating resources for digital Bible creation. And these resources really fell into 2 categories, tools and alliances. We found about 24 different tools that people are using when we talked to these individuals and organizations. And we found also 7 alliances that are sort of building relationships among creators. So those resources are really distributed only among 7 of the 27 digital nations. So here you can see in red the nations that have resources for their Bible creators, and in blue those who don't have any resources that are being used to reach that audience. And so about a quarter of the digital nations have digital Bible resources for those creators. And only 2 of the top 5, as you can see, have any sort of resources serving them. And so if you think in population terms, those with resources reaching that audience, there's about 10 billion monthly active users, while those without are 18.4 billion monthly active users who don't have any resources for the creators that are trying to reach those audiences. So if we want to make digital Bible creation, digital Bible engagement easier, if we want to saturate these nations with the Bible, creators are still needing more resources. And so lastly, we found that digital Bible creators, no surprise, want resources. We asked them, what can we do about it? And here's what they said. No surprise, they asked for all sorts of different kinds of support. We emailed a whole host of them. We got about 50 responses, and these are sort of the 10 key topics that emerged from their conversations with us. About 40% mentioned partnerships and collaboration. About 37% mentioned finances. 29% mentioned promotions and awareness. They feel like they have good content, but they're trying to figure out, as I'm sure many of you experience, trying to figure out how to better reach those audiences. 20% mentioned technical or creative support, and another 20% mentioned time, which is certainly related to finances. So, in conclusion, to saturate the digital nations with the Bible, creators are needing more alliances and more tools. And so I'll leave you with this question. What role should organizations play in the digital Bible engagement space? Should they be creators? Should they be resourcers? Should they be something else? If you're like the Bible Society and you're wanting to increase Bible engagement online, this may be the first question that we need to ask. And I'm sure it's a question that many of you have already wrestled with. What role should organizations play in this digital Bible ecosystem? Different organizations are going to have different answers to this question based on kind of what your strengths are. So if this research is of interest to you, you'd like to learn more, the full report is going to be out in June. You've gotten a preview here. I'm glad to share it. That includes the list of the 1,700 creators that we found. And so if you want to get notified via email, scan that, send me an email, and I'll make sure that you're on the list. Or if you cannot wait and you would like to go deeper in conversation with me about this, feel free to email me and ask about that. You can use this QR code. And if you don't get enough of your fill of AI this afternoon, I am hosting a webinar on the state of AI for ministry on Wednesday. So I'll send you an invite for that. Or come find me this afternoon. I'll be here until about 3:30. Thanks.